Intro.
I think it's time to blow this thing. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Hey everyone! Oh, what a ride!
Hey now.
Hey.
There is no better way to start a Sunday than with Tank. Let me tell you, that is amazing.
And we're still streaming because the copyright. Welcome everyone to the show.
Right off the bat.
Yeah, I'm seeing us in so many screens because I'm using two computers to stream. Then I'm checking the YouTube stream and the Twitch stream. Yes, we are now also on Twitch, so welcome everyone from the Twitch. If you're watching this, this is the Next Issue podcast. Let's, you know what? I think we got a full slate because we are talking about the Rocketeer movie from 1991.
Yes.
Yeah. I did watch something from 1993 though, but we'll talk about. We can get into that later.
Okay, so who accidentally watched the more recent children's show?
I haven't watched any of it.
I saw it in there and I was wondering if it was related at all.
I think it's using the IP, but like only the name. So
the new one, the cartoon. Is that
the cartoon. I think so. I mean, it is a Disney jam. I think they still own the rights to it.
Yeah. It looked to me like it was just something based on the. I haven't looked at it, but it looked to me like it was just something that they grabbed. Like, okay, that's a cool idea. Let's put it on a child, and then make it a kid's show.
Yes. Nothing says children like slapping a rocket pack onto their back and throwing them into the air.
Well,
that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
it does. That was every dream I had as a kid. So
the kids like it. Yeah. So on our main topic, we'll be talking about the Rocketeer. Josh brought this up a little while ago that he wanted to do a show on the Rocketeer, and Rocketeer Plus we'll call it because it's not just about the actual movie.
Right.
I had never seen the movie until yesterday in preparation for the show. So we'll get into that for our main topic. But before that, we have to kind of catch up because we've been. Oh, I guess my first question, Josh, you were not able to join us last week on this, but you were on the chat. Did you have any last things, anything we might have missed for our Revelations talk before we put that behind until we get part 2?
I mean, I'll just say I loved it. Screw all the haters who were upset that it focused on Tila because she was amazing. I literally gasped out loud at that last moment in the last episode when you know what happens. And well, anyway, so yeah, it was fantastic, and I cannot wait for the next half of the season because I'm so intrigued where they're going to go.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. So
great. Yeah. I mean, if you want to go get our full spoiler thoughts, you can go back and look at our last stream from last week.
Mm-hmm. Read the comments. That's where all my very important thoughts are.
Yeah, you can follow along with the live chat. I was trying to make sure that we put them up as they went. So, but now,
Oh no,
let's move-
you did great. It was thanks. I still felt like I was participating, so thank you.
great, great. We always want to, and even if you're not able to join us, we always have
Yeah,
Fisto.
yep, that is true.
Fisto
Yeah.
always comes through.
We ran you through an AI, and that's what we got out.
Everything I've ever said on the podcast, and it came up with I fisted as hard as I could.
Well, we made an AI watch all the shows and listen to all the podcasts, but also an AI, we made it find all your professional work, and that's what
good.
it came up with.
Eerily accurate. So
any paper you might have published, any class that leaked any of your classes.
Yep.
Somebody jumped on man. If somebody
Any
was
fan
restreaming
fiction
your
you may have
classes,
written?
Jeez.
So, all right. Well, let's go into our previously on next issue.
Josh's fan fiction, Fisto Fisted.
That's it's not as big of a leap as you would think.
I know. That's what I was. I'm like that again. Seems pretty accurate.
I feel like there's a live journal that exists already of this.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, in academia, there are scholars that study slash fiction and fan fiction. So
yeah, there you go.
yep. So it's not me. But...
Well, no. I just remember this is before Clay and Shelby ever got together. But I remember like going to brunch with some our mutual friends, and then actually we talked about how there was like Sasquatch and raptor porn out there.
Yes,
Cool. Huh.
it's one of our favorite topics.
There's
Clay
actually
was very excited about the
one woman's
that
actually
memory.
written a novel about I don't think it's Sasquatch rape, but Sasquatch relations with a human woman. So I'd have to find the link, but it's just like, really, this is a real book that's been published.
Oh, great. Now, what you've spawned in my head, Kyle, is Sasquatch very seductively saying, "Clever girl."
Please don't find that link.
I'm sorry. I'm building a Bigfoot Tinder in my mind.
Please also don't send us that
There's
link.
the Yowie from Saigon. There's there's Momo from Michigan. It's like...
Well, let me move on. So this week, I think a lot. I'm looking at the notes. We all did a lot of reading and watching and stuff. So let's just.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna kick us off since we try to go in order now. I finally started reading Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil. Holy shit! And
It's good.
Is it?
It's so good. I
Yes.
read the first 2 volumes, No Fear and No Devils, Only
Oh my
Gods.
god.
Only God. Yeah, the thing, Zdarsky's kind of deconstructing Daredevil in a way, because it's really, this book is not about Daredevil, it's about Matt Murdock, and
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying that. Like Daredevil, obviously in it, like, but I'm really, really enjoying that. A big portion of this run is now on Marvel Unlimited and Comixology Unlimited, so I'm just catching up through there. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Let's see if I can keep going. Okay. Yeah, so this was very cool. We read a few things that let's see. Oh, Icon on Rocket #1 from Milestone, which I got a like and retweet by Reginald Hudland, which was cool.
I saw that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he followed me too, which I was like, okay,
Holy shit.
Yeah, he's my friend now. It was cool. I'm not very familiar with these characters other than kind of stuff we've seen before, but I'm loving all the Milestone stuff so far. And
I expect you to DM him and ask him for a Black Panther interview 1-on-1.
yeah, oh god,
That'd be cool.
that's a lot of pressure. But yeah, it was cool. It's available on DC Infinite, as well as you can buy the physical copy at your comic shop. So I did both. But yeah, I read it early, so or when it came out. So that was very cool. I caught up on Barbaric by the Michael Mercy comic from Vault, and also the Blue Flame 2 and 3 by Christopher Canwell, also from Vault Comics. If you haven't watched our video on Vault Comics to read in August, go back and check that out in the channel. Those are 2 of the books I recommend. Also read Batman Reptilian #2 by Garth Ennis and Liam Sharp. Liam Sharp is painting this whole book. And
Wow.
it's fucking insane.
I got in on his last Kickstarter, so I'm getting one of his books that he's putting out.
Oh, that's man. The work that he's doing, and this is Garth Ennis, so like it's a way different Batman. This Batman is a scary Batman. You don't want to run into this guy in the alley for sure. But it's really
as opposed to what other Batman?
I know.
Well, listen, I've seen him smile in other books, so
Brave and bold.
If it's the 66 Batman in an alley, I'm just gonna go dance with them. So
that's right. Yeah, you saw him dancing to Cowboy Bebop earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was very cool. Then we got these are some of the books I reviewed in the channel, so I won't go too deep into them. But I do want to hear Clay's thoughts on last book you'll ever read.
Wow.
Cullen Bunn, Layla Lace, Vault Comics as well for their Nightfall line, which is their horror imprint. Clay, what did you think there?
You know, I haven't read a lot of the Colin Bunn horror, but I know that's what he's known for before he was doing Marvel stuff. Man, this is a great setup. This first issue is and the art really works with it as well. What's the artist's name?
Layla Lace.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's it. Let me go.
So she writes a book. The premise is the author is the main character and writes a book that drives people insane, and they want to kill her. And so she has to hire a security team that hasn't read her book to keep her safe. Because she's brought about the end of the world with this. How? People are going insane and killing, and just from reading this book, and it's a bestseller. But they're just now finding out about all these murders that are starting to happen, and just everyday people are starting to snap. Great cover.
Yeah, it looks great. I mean,
it's so cool.
There's this cover's really good. There's some of those what Vault calls undressed covers that I saw. So Vault, I was lucky enough to get a preview of the book, which that's why I did the review early on Monday. And man, those covers are adult. I'll show you guys after the show because I definitely can't put it on the stream.
Really?
They're adult. Like I gotta, well, I don't, it's like, that's all I can say. So if that's the kind of stuff you like to see as well. Like they're beautiful covers, but you can't even look at the previews here on League of Comic Geeks. Okay, so I'll just touch on some of these, and if you guys read some of these, jump on because I did full reviews for these, so I won't go too deep into them. Superman: Son of Kal-El #1 came out by Tom Taylor. He's taken over. It's really, really cool. I just like the way Tom Taylor writes Jonathan Kent, and also the fact that this book actually John worries about not only saving people, but also how can he affect change on a more deeper level, and he has a really cool conversation with Damien about that, about all the. He's like, I'm a vigilante because I have to stay outside the law because I'm never going to be responsible for social change. You can be that though, like John can be that, and really? So it's really heady. It's really cool. I really enjoyed it. I definitely recommend. And Tom Taylor has yet to go wrong with me. So, also read Astonishing Times #1. One of the writers of this book is Aris Quinones, who's the variant.
He's writing a book.
He's local to the DFW area. You can read this on Comixology Unlimited.
What book is it again?
Also, Astonishing Times.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good. I really liked it. And I also read Amazing Fantasy #1 by Carrie Ann. Pretty much Carrie Andrews did everything but letter this book.
Beautiful book.
It's insane. Yeah.
The cover's amazing. There's like this Frank Franzetta tribute. Yeah, go ahead and pull it up because I have a physical copy. I think it'll just shine off the bag. But beautiful book. Playing in the last time I saw Captain America in this world was Battle World. Are we on Battle World in this?
I don't know where we are. That's a good question. So the book kind of centers around 3 of our heroes from the Marvel, maybe even different Marvel universes.
Oh, wow.
Cap, Black Widow, and Spider-Man.
Yeah, they're dropped into this fantasy world, right? So this is obviously Captain America. We have Spider-Man, but I think the most amazing thing for me, no pun intended, was Carrie Andrews' ability to like portray 3 different comic styles, and then so each one of the heroes looks like a different comic book.
Oh wow!
And
I
then
need
he
this.
also has the style that he picked for Amazing Fantasy. This is just a short 5-issue miniseries.
Nice.
So it won't. There's not a lot of there's not a lot of commitment if that's something you're afraid of with comic books. Listen, once you get in, you can't stop. You can't just cancel subscriptions.
Yes, you can.
Yeah,
You can't?
Clay's done it. Clay's done it.
No.
I
No,
can't read
it's
all these
not
X-Men
allowed.
books. Just give me one. Way of the X.
That's fair. I feel like you got to read at least X-Men too, but
Yeah, the new one.
we can talk about that next week when the next issue comes out, and I tell you all about it.
Yeah, but this I love Carrie Andrews' art. Last time I think he did Rialto Jones. I think it was an Image book. It was a vigilante for the 1%. And again, he did the whole thing himself.
When he also did Erratic, right? Which I think
he did Erratic
giveaway. That was one of the Patreon giveaways.
Hint, hint, hint.
So
yes. So new month, we'll be giving away a whole run of another story. I think I'm going to give away The Question by Jeff Lemire and Dennis Conways.
Okay.
So that'll be if you're a Patreon, we just pick one, and we'll give away a series. And next month it'll be The Question.
Nice. Okay, just to wrap up here, I watched The Pelican Brief from 1993 with Denzel Washington and Pretty Woman. I saw it was scrolling through Hulu, so because I've been watching a lot of 90s movies, Hulu is now recommending other stuff. And I was like, how come I've never watched this? Denzel's in it. Julia Roberts is in it. It's a dope movie. Like,
someone calling the Pelican Brief a dope movie.
Man, you could have just waited 2 more years and done an anniversary.
Yeah.
Third.
Yeah. Yeah, you can just rewatch it.
Listen, I'll try to get Denzel on the show and maybe
that would be
and Julia Roberts or both. By then we'll be big enough that we have maybe some juice to pull him in.
Yeah.
So
I would love Julia Roberts to come on and talk about like Gail Simone for an hour.
Oh yeah,
I just love her run on.
I have so many questions about. I have so many questions about the Oceans franchise. But yeah, it was a really good movie. A really good movie. So it was definitely the 90s movies are hit or miss, but it's such a specific decade of movie making. It's very interesting.
Yeah,
very interesting. I watched Jungle Cruise because The Rock's in it.
I wasn't.
And Emily Blunt's in it. So
I wasn't.
I liked it a lot. It was really good. It was really good. Definitely worth me. I mean, I watched it at home, so that's also.
I'm excited to hear about this last one because it is. I've been so anticipating this.
Yeah.
So I haven't done my Letterboxd review, which I will. You can follow me on Letterboxd. But The Green Knight, it was a mind. Like I left the movie's beautiful and it's great. I think it's a little long and because it's very slow paced, but it makes sense once you. I had to come home and watch some stuff about the legend of the Green Knight because I went into the movie not knowing anything about the poem.
I don't know anything about it either.
I believe it's a poem, right?
Either.
Yeah.
It's,
so I would recommend you do it after you watch the movie because the poem, I mean, it's a very faithful adaptation of the poem overall. So there's some things that could be spoiled, I guess. So if you don't care for spoilers, then you can read things on the poem. The poem is very interesting too. It's written by an anonymous writer, and it's been kind of like brought in. From the videos I saw at the time when it came out, people did not think it was great, but then as time has passed, like people have recognized that it's just a great story. I love anything with Arthurian legend too. And then Dev Patel is just fantastic
Oh.
as Sir what's his name? Gawain. I think it's
Gawain, yeah.
Yeah.
Sir Gawain.
Yeah, it's really good. A24 is doing some crazy shit, and this is another thing of it. I know I didn't tell anyone I was doing the Lamb trailer review because I didn't think it was going to be that insane. I was just shooting videos.
That was one of my favorite things I watched this week was you reacting to the Lamb trailer.
Oh my god!
And it blowing your mind.
Yeah. So and also, I've kind of made this choice of maybe not going to the movies for the next month or so. So I wanted to finish on a good movie. Otherwise, I would have gone to watch like Snake Eyes or Old. Take that, M. Night Shyamalan. I was just kidding. I'll probably watch this when they're streaming. But I was like, all right, look, if we're gonna risk it and go out there, and I also figured this would be the least crowded movie, which it was. It was pretty empty overall.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
I'm kind of the Alamo near my house opens up. I want to say next week, and I'm kind of hoping they're going to have the Green Knight because I would love to go see it in the theater. But like you, I haven't been out to the movies in a year and a half, a year and a half. So I'm really worried about going to go see it because they're not doing a digital release the same time, right? Like the only way to see it right now is in the theater. So
yeah. So it's really good. I mean, I think A24 does have that like 45-day thing where then they'll go to streaming somewhere or on the quickly.
I could wait
because I don't think their movies are. I don't think their movies are like the thing that people are drawn to the theater. Like Dev Patel wouldn't sue A24 for his revenue shares from the box office. I'll say that. So yeah,
he's no Emma Stone.
Yeah. But you know what? Fuck Disney. So whatever. They have enough money. But yeah, it was great. So, but that's about it. I think. Yeah, I mean, other than that, and I'll watch The Rocketeer, but we'll get into that for the main topic. So, Clay, you want to hit us next?
All right. Well, last book you'll ever read. We talked about that. Amazing Fantasy. We talked about that. Beta Ray Bill. Spoilers. Do y'all want to talk spoilers? Because I know everyone's read it.
Go for
Kyle.
it. Go for
it. Yeah, let's go.
You've not read it, Kyle?
I didn't realize it came out.
Oh man.
So I love this run. I love the art, the story. Yeah.
It's over. It's
5 issues.
We already ruined it for him.
No, I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, because I would love to see more because I love this look, this dirty, grimy, but color.
It works so well. The style works so well.
I would say it looks like a 70s heavy metal book.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when Scuttlebutt becomes like a person, a robot. What movie am I thinking of? I can't think of what she looks like straight out of.
Oh, it's
Metropolis.
Metropolis, yeah.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah,
I thought you were thinking Blade Runner 2049. I was like, yeah, I get it.
You get that reference?
Me?
No, Daniel.
Oh.
Metropolis is a very old movie. I get it.
You should watch it. It's visually stunning. It's slow as hell, but it's visually stunning.
Somebody did a cover homage to that referenced Metropolis, and it didn't make me want to watch the movie. But anyway, sorry, Josh, go ahead.
So what were y'all's favorites moments from the end here?
I
mean, the fight was super cool.
The fight was super cool. I really dug the fight.
The action, it's like, Daniel Warren Johnson, the way he does action, like, it's, oh my god, there's a flashback to the first meeting between Beta Ray Bill and Thor.
Oh yeah,
where Beta Ray Bill just suplexes Thor. Yes. Oh my god, that was such a good panel. Here, I'm gonna go look for it while you guys talk.
It's funny, throughout the run I kind of came full circle on his use of onomatopoeia and sound effects, because I started to hate them, and then I came back around to loving them when he does things like he has a big sound effect for just yank. And I'm like, That's not a sound. That's an action. What are you doing? You know. But was I the only one? I didn't like the ending. I just flat out didn't like it.
Why?
I thought that what he was setting up at the end of the prior issue was that the weapon that he needed and his true love was Scuttlebutt.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that to me, that was where everything was heading. Like the big reveal was going to be he doesn't need to transform at all. He truly is, you know, Beta Ray Bill in this form.
All right.
And so then to have it resolve where he still gets what he wants. Is he going to go back and see Sif? I mean, I don't know.
I still felt he was very unhappy. I mean, when he looked in the mirror, he still saw,
right,
you know, Beta Ray Bill, you know, the form,
right. So
it was still bothered by it. Like it's something he still carries. And and I don't know if it's a situation.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That's so awesome.
Cool. So cool. Sorry, so cool. Like Suplex City, baby. And the
but
crack.
I just felt like Bill didn't learn anything through all this. There's no growth.
Well, I think when he sees himself in the mirror that's the other form, that's him learning that he didn't need to change form. Like he is Bill, right?
Right.
Also, I've never seen a better version of Scourge.
So good.
Like Ragnarok is pretty close. Like the Ragnar from the movie.
Yeah, Carl Urban.
Because Carl Urban.
In his portrayal in this comic made me think this was Carl Urban playing him still, right? It felt like Carl Urban. So,
but even better is Pip with a gun. Because
that was amazing.
Because isn't that Pip that's in the Eternals trailer? The kid?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it's a little kid, and so I imagine that little kid running around with 2 machine guns, screaming and killing people.
Yeah,
I loved every part of the action of this book. That's what I'd say. Pick it up for the art and the action. The story's fantastic too, but Josh didn't like.
Kyle, once you finish reading it, let us know because.
Well, Josh is always wrong, so it's okay.
Hey, I'm not going to disagree with you. So
yeah,
unless I'm wrong about disagreeing with you, in which case I'm right.
These are so cool. I'm glad I bought the individual ones too, because man, these covers.
Yeah,
how many were there? Or are you just talking about the individual, like 1 through 5?
Yeah, just the individual issues.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay, okay.
I didn't buy. No.
I'll say, were there another 10 variants for Better Rebuild number 5?
There were quite a few variants.
Yeah, I've decided to buy less variants and just more different comics. Because I'm trying to read.
Our young Padawans are learning.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was cool. Yeah, definitely recommend a fellow podcast called Couple Comic Book Couples. I saw them tweet. They said, we just finished reading Beta Ray Bill. We have to do an emergency podcast. and I think recording an emergency podcast is the best thing I've read.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's pretty good.
So yeah, go check them out on Twitter. They're pretty fun.
But the last thing I have is I finished Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Wow, the whole run?
Just the series, the 26 episodes. And so
gotcha. Okay.
Now
I thought you meant the manga.
No. I'm about to dip into the movies. So I had to watch a video. I've watched a lot of videos. I've watched a lot.
Don't be in a depressed state when you watch the second one. That's all I'm going to say.
But I mean, there's so much from the series that can make you depressed. You don't just
I know, but the creator of the series actually committed himself after he made the second film. Literally, he committed himself because he went insane.
Look, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen anything on that yet. Well,
Death and Rebirth. He committed himself after he made Death and Rebirth.
Fuck. It's some heavy stuff. It is.
Oh, yeah.
For a cartoon, it's some heavy stuff.
And you get into everything from you want to talk about religious overtone. At that you have. Almost have sort of incest toned molestation. It's just the movies really take a whole new level to what the series was even giving you slight hints towards.
Wow.
If you watch it at the service level, the adult comedy for kids is uncomfortable. These kids are teens. There's a lot of adult, but then you don't take into consideration the adult situation of war and violence and everything that he is thrust into and has to deal with. So he really is having to deal with being an adult in every aspect in the show. And so that is looked at almost comically, but it's very he's still a kid. That's the thing that should.
Yeah,
I could talk about this for a while. So
Shinji's had mental problems from the beginning of the series, and it does not get any better by the movies.
Well, when he starts the show, I mean, his mom just died, and his dad's basically abandoned him, and now he's got to like go work for his dad in a sense of you know fighting this war that he kind of just doesn't care about. But I put a link in the show notes to a Crunchyroll explanation that is probably my favorite one. But I could really just do a whole show on this if y'all want to talk about it at some point.
I mean, just to know, I mean, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but do you know what Evil 1 really is, Clay?
See, I had different videos tell me different things. What do you think it is?
No, I know what it is. It's already been confirmed.
Oh, I thought. Okay, go ahead.
Evil 1 basically has Shinji's mom's spirit inside of it.
Okay, yeah.
That's why it's always protecting him. Like whenever, like when there's a scene in the series when the thing comes down and the arm covers Shinji, it's because his mom's spirit is inhabited by Evil 1.
Oh man.
Well, I like mechs, so. So I'll check it out.
I would like you to check it out, please, and then come back and report what you think of the mechs.
Mechs. Oh my god.
All right.
I wish we had the audio from Josh right now.
I'm just coughing, so it's
well, I had the same thing when we were talking about Evel Knievel, and Daniel goes, "Well, he looks professional. He has a suit and a helmet, and and they look like they prepared for safety." And I'm like, Evel Knievel never like his failsafe was like a parachute and then the ground. Like there's no.
That's pretty much true.
Yeah, I mean, I watched that Caesar Palace jump again, and I go, "There's no padding to catch him. There's nothing. There's just a helmet, and he hits the cement off the bike. Yeah, that's it."
Oh.
I can't think of Evel Knievel without thinking of the parody of him in Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law.
Okay, we have derailed the whole show.
Yeah, wow, we are very off topic.
Don Cheadle played a great stuntman in Ocean's 11 too. All right, so
he was the demolitions guy.
Yeah,
was he?
yeah.
Oh,
Well, but he had to go. Sorry, not Ocean's 13. I meant Ocean's 13.
Oh,
yeah, he had to dress up as the stunt guy to go to buy them sometime. You know how these movies go where things go awry, Clay.
what the hell are you watching Ocean's 13 for?
Here we go.
Oh,
I mean, because Pelican
Clay.
Brief blew your mind.
I love the Ocean's franchise. I watch it all the time.
Have
I'll
you
just
seen?
put 'em on.
Have you seen the OG Rat Pack one though?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it'll be as fun.
Oh,
Here we go.
no, it's not.
yeah, no, I like the banter between all these people just hanging out.
It's different, but I do like the ending of the first
Okay.
of the original one.
Yeah,
I do recommend watching it.
it has Frank Sinatra and the gang, so I'm sure I'll probably enjoy that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the I love the Ocean's franchise. It's a nice like those just come on all the time at my house. Like whenever I need to whenever they're on TV, I'll leave them on and just do stuff around. Like while having it on the background. All right, well that's a good segue to Josh. Oh, I'm sorry, Kyle. We're going clockwise. Kyle, what do you got?
Let's see. Did a lot of watching this week. Third season and final trilogy for Transformers War for Cybertron came out at Netflix. Binged through that. Not as hard as the first two seasons, but it was interesting because it's basically.
Wait, when you say hard, you mean the first two seasons were not good?
No, they were okay. It's just they're very slow, and it's a different take.
Okay.
They were better than I think the Transformers seasons they did, like the Gestalts and the Titans and stuff like that. But it's a different take on what the Generation 1 history is.
Okay.
Basically, you have Optimus. It's basically Generation 1 like characters, but a different time the way they go. They send the Allspark off in season 1. Season 2 is them trying to find the Allspark, and season 3 is them going to Earth. The Allspark's landed there. They're still in the past, but they end up meeting the Maximals. So it's basically Beast Wars meets Generation 1 Transformers. And it's different because you still have all the Maximals and the Predacons, but they're the same height as the Generation 1 Transformers, and they end up teaming together. So Megatron meets Megatron, Optimus Prime meets Optimus. They're taking on each other and basically, and then they also tie a little bit of the lore of Unicron into the series. So this is all set in the past. It's them never going, like, even though when they crash on the Earth of the past, they still hit the volcano. There's the way they end the series is they leave it open for another sequel or trilogy, but they're not stranded on Earth in the past to be woken up in 4 million years later in the year 1984.
Oh.
So,
well,
yes.
I've heard rumblings of the next movie they want to do Beast Wars.
I've heard that too.
So
wait.
That'd be cool.
The live action movies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are still alive. I think Bumblebee bought him a new movie.
Yeah, well, Bumblebee is the best movie out of all the Michael Bay stuff.
That's what I've heard. I haven't seen it.
Oh
yet.
my
It's
god,
really good. It's really good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
If you like, I mean, Haley Steinfeld's great, so she's gonna be in Hawkeye. So go watch Bumblebee before Hawkeye.
She's no Mark Wahlberg. Come on now.
Mark
right.
Wahlberg is no
You're
Mark Wahlberg. I don't know you.
Sorry,
okay.
go ahead, Kyle.
Next, I watched, and you guys should have Jellystone.
I know. I forgot to. I need to throw it on today.
We did, and it was weird.
It's amazing. That first episode when Yogi, I loved it. I'm sorry, I wanted the fucked up kind of Jellystone. That's it's everything. I've only watched a couple episodes so far, but like just the first episode, you have Augie Dottie with now his daughter. Some of the characters have been transgender, which I'm okay with, but she starts singing. The old lady who's actually from all the characters in this are based on are Hanna-Barbera characters. So the old lady that went into a coma because of the little daughter singing was from this one of the shorts that was on either the Adamant or Secret Squirrel series. And then basically, and Yogi saves her, and then basically he can't figure. He goes into like anxiety because he can't decide what he wants to eat. So basically, they knock him out, and Cindy puts basically this nuclear reactor stomach in his chest. So now he can eat everything. But because the nuclear reactor does that, he starts eating everything. Ends up eating everybody in the city, and it's like, what the fuck is going on?
But there's like weird shit for kids in this. Like
yes.
that old woman like dies.
Yeah, but she comes back. They save her.
I know, but there's this moment where they have to check for her to see if she's alive. There's like some weird adult shit in there that makes it really like I don't think it's for kids at all.
I don't think it's supposed to be for kids, but it's definitely something that I could see that's on par that they would put on something late night on like the Adult Swim kind of cartoon.
It would fit in the Adult Swim arena.
But
it's a weird choice and not do that balance of adult jokes like Looney Tunes does. That's funny without being like.
I don't know about that. The new Looney Tunes series on HBO has gotten some dark moments too. There's an episode where basically there's an episode where basically Sylvester and Tweety are in a veterinarian vet's doctor office, and he's chasing her, and he gets thrown into one of the rooms, and basically about an hour and a half he's been fixed, he's been neutered. So Tweety's in the cage, and he starts walking out like this, like almost like fear of God in his face. He starts walking out, and he goes, "Hey, Putty Tat, did you get fixed?" "Yes, I got fixed." So he walks out into the middle of the street, lies down, and gets run over by a truck.
Wow. Fuck.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. I love the direction there. I want dark shit with some of this older stuff, but I love the Looney Tunes humor and the Jellystone.
You want the cat to commit suicide?
Yeah, it was awesome. Self-deprecating humor. That was awesome. I've been fixed. Boom. I want maybe I've gotten darker humor as I've gotten older, but I love the stuff they're doing with the Jellystone. This like it's fucked up. I don't want the same. I love watching the old stuff, but this takes a new. It's like, okay, this is amazing. At least I'm enjoying it. I think we need something new and fresh. That it's look, if it's not for kids, like He-Man, Match Universe Revelations, not for kids.
That's fair. Yeah.
I'm also been watching the new Turner and Hooch series on Disney, which
I was wondering if that was the new thing or
it's a different take, but I'm having fun with it. It's a new revision. It basically have. I can't remember the full actor's name, but it's Drake from Josh and Drake on Nickelodeon. Yeah. And he's basically playing, Turner, who basically in San Francisco has joined the Marshals, and he's a rookie. And basically his dad, who's the guy who he hasn't spoken to his dad in a while, but his dad is the original owner of Hooch. And so after his dad passes away, his sister, in his will, he wanted Hooch to be given to Turner.
Wait, how old
Jonathan.
is the dog?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Do they address the dog's age? Dogs don't. I mean,
no, the dog's young. He's not as old as you think he is. Like he's probably like only But basically, basically his dad leaves a message: every good cop needs a good dog, and so basically it's just the pairing and the relationship, how they build, because they end up becoming a canine unit for the marshals. And so I watched the second episode, and the second one was kind of fun because they sort of did a Die Hard episode where basically
Clay's face.
I'll be the judge of that.
Not in the same vein as Die Hard, but it's basically just you have to watch it. But it's a fun series. It's Disney, taking Turner and Hooch, not making it as depressing and boring as I thought the first film.
It's Disney using up all their licenses.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, who asked for a Turner and Hooch reboot, and can they?
But I'm enjoying it.
Those kids writing emails to, dear Mr. Disney.
I mean, okay, look. Here's the thing: bringing back the hockey stuff.
Mighty Ducks?
Blinked. Mighty Ducks makes sense. That was for a generation younger than me. It was wildly popular.
That was a sequel. That was literally
and it's a direct sequel, right?
This is just taking a property. It's like there's a market, and the way they're doing it, it's fun. It may be meant more for kids, but the cast they have, and it's funny because his partner is this. She's a seasoned veteran, but she's pregnant, but she's still a badass cop, and so it's her dealing with trying to teach him how to be he's a very. Jonathan Turner is very uptight. It's almost like his Tom Hanks counterpart from the movie. He's always got to be clean, everything. So they're trying to get him to loosen up, but she's always almost on Chooch's side than she is on his side. So it's them trying to get the relationship. And his love interest, who's the dog trainer for all the canine units in the cops, is a fun, bubbly girl who I know they're trying to push that. But she likes him, but he's still so oblivious to see that she likes him, and so they're going to build off of that. And then, but you realize that his sister and I think she's a single mom with her son. And they're going through her dad's old cases, and they realize that he was onto something. So there's a smaller storyline as they go in episodic stories. They're going on that there's going to be another story that's going to take the whole season. So I don't know. It's just fun. Turner Hooch is not something you probably ever thought you would ever want to watch, but the way Disney's doing it, it's like it's just.
I still don't think I want to watch it.
Yeah, I'm still a little.
Give it a shot. Give it a shot. Watch this first episode and give it a shot.
Why is it? Is it flashing for you guys?
Yeah.
It is. Why is Turner and Hooch at a rave?
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry to our photosensitive viewers.
I was just pulling up to show you.
Wait, what?
Very sorry.
Clay's flickering.
Oh no.
Let me see if I can.
Clay.
There we go.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm enjoying
that.
It.
That is the exact. But I was trying to pull up the
image of Tom Hanks.
He's got the exact same tie.
There we go.
Oh,
he's wearing the exact same clothes, and is like, is his head just photoshopped on that?
No,
I don't think so.
I mean, really, because
when you see the dog, like
the jacket's different, but man, he looks.
If anything, the dog gets photoshopped in the second one. I don't think he took a picture with the dog.
Hooch in the original movie. Maybe yeah.
But I checked IMDb and it's there.
I think it's just so the dog looks like they photoshopped the dog from the first movie onto the second picture.
Yeah, it does look identical almost.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't know if that's Josh or Drake, but
that's Drake. Josh was the voice of Spider-Man. Drake's now turned.
I was going to say.
I think we don't talk about Josh right now.
Well. Yeah, right now I think he's
we don't
talk about Josh right now.
We don't talk about Josh.
Oh, okay. I was like,
oh, that Josh. All right.
I was like, wait,
I'm the good Josh.
Yeah. We talk about this one all the time. Anyways,
poor bastards.
Sorry, Kyle. Keep going with your comment.
Yeah. Read Shang-Chi. Technically, Shang-Chi versus the Marvel Universe #3. It's him with him taking over his father's organization, but being a good guy, and his siblings trying to be, why are you a good guy? They end up going to find another member of the family who's actually a mutant. They end up having to fight Wolverine, who's trying to invite the mutant to, Krakoa.
I like the series because it puts him at odds with the Marvel heroes.
But at odds. That's the weird
thing. Right.
He's making it seem in front of his family that he's at odds, but he's actually,
Yeah.
And then I read, what was the other one I read? Robin #4, which basically takes place after Robin #3, after Connor Hawke supposedly kills Damien. He washes up on shore and is rescued by Ra's al Ghul. And you realize Ra's al Ghul's living on this island. Just, he's basically he's like saying he's basically given up after like the outsiders defeated him. He's like saying, I've lost everything. Sometimes to gain the best part of life, you have to lose. And so he's on this island, just training, becoming doing yoga, just becoming mentally, And they've also got like was it Damien's old like red furred gargoyle Goliath is there too. So it's just him kind of a reunion with everything. And then he ends up leaving. And at the end, you see like there's a party of like 4 or 5 characters, and they're looking for Damien. And he goes, "Why are you guys here?" And it's Dick, it's Jason, it's Spoiler, and it's Tim, all saying it's time for you to come home. So it's all the Robins trying to get him.
I need to catch up on this Damien Eat, Pray, Love story.
Yeah.
Robin, Eat, Pray, Love.
Yeah.
And then I read Infinite Frontier #3, which basically is still dealing with more, again, this is a limited series too, but it starts off with Obsidian and Green Lantern, Alan Scott taking out all these guys, trying to figure out what's going on with Jade, and it ends up with them. With Clay's going to love this, ends up running into him coming to talk to the Shade.
Ooh.
And the Shade and basically goes, like, with all these enemies, how do you know it's like one of these? And basically the way he's doing rhymes like normally does, but Alan's like, "What the hell are you talking about, Shade?" And Obsidian has to tell Dad, "I don't think it's one of your enemies. I think it might be one of ours." And he's talking about one of our enemies from Infinity Incorporated. So he goes on. You're still dealing with Thomas Swain, with the President Superman on this Earth, and they go to this one Earth, and there's Magog from Justice Society who's basically in charge of that Earth. Roy Harper, who's now the official Black Lantern on Earth. He's trying to figure out how the hell he has the Black Lantern ring, and then basically he gets captured, and he's
Look, Clay's face.
Roy Harper is
the Black Lantern.
What the fuck?
That was the reveal at the end of the first issue that there were Black Lanterns around.
And then basically he's captured by this one group, and
can't they just call him Lantern? Why do you always got to add black onto things?
Because it's the color spectrum. You got green, you got blue, you got
that's
pink.
a Jeff Johns question.
Yeah, exactly.
But he ends up getting rescued. There's an explosion, and then and he's like, "Who are we supposed to take down?" And it turns to a page, and there's Jade with Damage, Atom Smasher, Power Girl, and somebody else. It basically reforming the Infinity Incorporated. So it leaves on the page of basically Infinity Incorporated being built up again. So I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes.
I think that seems like where the book is headed.
Yeah.
I can see a relaunch of
Roy Harper is a
Black Lantern.
Better than him being dead and not around.
Or a zombie.
Is it?
Yes.
I'd rather have Roy Harper around than not have him around.
Yeah. We need
that always come back somehow.
That's right.
Could have just stayed dead for a little longer.
Yeah. Well, speaking of comebacks, Josh.
Hey. I'll
since you're able to join us this time around.
I know. I'll try and keep this short. I know we're going long. I have actually read a bunch of stuff, and I'm so mad because last week when my internet crapped out on me and I couldn't join you, I'd actually gone to Wednesday Comic Day and picked up some stuff. Specifically, what I picked up, I'd never heard of it before. I knew they were doing this, but I didn't look into it. Hard Case Crime, speaking of like pulpy stuff, which for many years have released both lost and new kind of pulp detective novels.
Oh.
I think in the past couple of years have gotten into comics through Titan. And they had a series that I saw the title. I'm like, how can I not read this? Called, I think this was the one I bought that was on the shelf. Minky Woodcock, the girl who electrified Tesla. And what attracted me to it is not just the name, but also the fact that when you open on the inside, the writer and artist who is Cynthia Von Bueller says she has like actual like information and evidence that inspired the story. Oh, unfortunately, when I went to the site, it's not up, which I was a little bummed about. This is the second series that she's done. The first one has Houdini, and the site still has all the Houdini information. I couldn't find any of the Tesla stuff. So, but I love Hard Case Crime. This is a hard R book. Just be aware of that. But I actually picked up some variant covers. This is the variant cover of issue 1. which is
Awesome.
great. And what's really cool about it is I'm pretty sure that is the model that she is hired, because most of the art feels very much taken from photographs. She has this interesting, almost like stained glass kind of digital style. Let me find a good example, like right here.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a really interesting approach. And so it's a fun story. I posted my favorite panels and pages to our Discord last week during the show. One is my favorite is she partners up with Josephine Baker. And my favorite is in the last issue, Josephine Baker and some feds just burst into like a bakery, a deli, to capture someone. And just the couple that run the deli behind the counter, the guy's like, "Hey, look, it's Josephine Baker." And I don't know why, it just cracked me up. I loved it so much. So, so that is Minky Woodcock, the girl who electrified Tesla, by Cynthia Von Bueller. I also randomly, as I was just going through the rare time that Comixology recommends something that I didn't know about and I want to read, was just a one-shot by Kyle Baker, who I adore, called Important Literary Journal. And it reminds me a lot of, if you're a longtime fan of the show, you know that I am a huge fan of Instant Piano, the 4-issue series that came out in the early 90s that Kyle Baker was in, Stephen DeStefano was in, Milk and Cheese guy, whose name has eluded me all of a sudden, is in.
Evan Dorkin.
Evan Dorkin, thank you. And then there's a fourth guy who kind of really, I don't think went on to do any more comics much after this, but it's just these like little random kind of funny comics that they threw in. So this one by Baker is almost like a compilation of his more recent, they're almost all gag strips. There's not a single multi-page comic in here. They're really funny. They're really dark. I love Baker's stuff. If you just want, it's like 64 pages. You can read it in about 20 minutes because it's just single page gags. It's fun. It's a super fun book. Then, of course, I read Beta Ray Bill, caught up on that. Read Masters of the Universe Revelations #1 in anticipation for our discussion last week, and then couldn't make it. But now it makes more sense. I didn't realize when I read it that they were splitting the season up into kind of 2 release cycles. Mm-hmm. And now it makes sense why issue 2 is coming out after the release of the first half of. Yeah. It seems like issue 2 is clearly going to be setting up or offering context for the second half of season 1. So, but I did catch up on Strange Adventures. Anyone else caught up?
No, I'm waiting for the final one, and I'm just going to sit down and read them all.
Oh man, it's been interesting reading it issue by issue, and I will say that my theory was half right.
Okay. Kang's a villain.
No, not that theory. But my theory was half right. But wow, does issue 11 end on a shocker?
Yeah, I'm ready to catch up. I heard the internet went abuzz with issue 10. So I'm sure something big happens there. I just haven't gotten to it. I think now I'm just gonna do a full reread of the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that too. I think once it's all said and done. But I'm worried about how it's gonna wrap up, and I'm probably gonna have to take a break before I ever dive into it again. And it doesn't. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, so I'm doing the same thing with Rorschach.
I need to keep reading it. I've read through issue 4. And then I think it just kind of stopped for a while. So.
I like reading the first few issues to make sure that the story got me hooked. But once it's done, once I do that, I prefer to wait for a Tom King book to be completed. Like this new Supergirl book, I'm gonna do the same thing. I read issue 1. I know I'm in. It's only 8 issues, so I'll just wait till it's all done.
Yeah, I'll probably do the same, but with both of those actually. And then finally, some stuff I watched in preparation for today, even though I know we're doing the Rocketeer. It dawned on me there is this kind of pulp revival that happens in the early 90s in the aftermath of Batman 89. And I wanted to watch these just to get a sense of how they kind of how the Rocketeer fits into all that. So I for the first time since it was in the theater, I watched 1990s Dick Tracy.
Okay.
Which I have. Which here's the thing, I hated it when it came out. And the reason I hated it was because I was a snot-nosed, 90, I would have been 15. Shit, is that right? No, it's not right.
I don't know.
No, that's right. 15. And
I don't know your math.
Neither do I. But what I wanted, and I think what a lot of people my age wanted, was the expectation that comic book movies would now be like Batman '89, which is grim and dark and serious, right? And Disney and Beatty kind of run out with this glorious, eye-popping, super colorized Dick Tracy movie. And boy, did it fumble. Like it was they marketed that film like it was going to be Batman '89. You couldn't go anywhere without finding merchandise and posters, and it just didn't do well. Yeah. Revisiting it is interesting because I know much more about the Dick Tracy comics now. Yeah. B, I can appreciate it historically, right? And Beatty has made just a visually stunning movie. Yeah. It has problems. My biggest problem is there is an action-packed montage as Tracy is bringing down the crime syndicate.
With Madonna singing.
A slow, lovelorn song, and they are just tonally disconnected. It does not work at all. Yeah. But Madonna's not as bad in it as I remembered. She's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
She didn't become British yet and picked up that accent.
Yeah, true. She was dating Beatty at the time.
Yeah.
So she hadn't met Guy Ritchie. Yeah.
Yeah. So she had been doing the documentary during this too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The documentary has her and Warren Beatty together, and I'm trying to remember the Madonna documentary. I'll look it up.
Is it? Well, it's not sex. Is it? Was it the one?
No, that was
the book. Well, yeah, but I feel like there was a documentary that went along with that, didn't it? Or like
Truth or Dare.
A stage show? Truth or Dare. Okay.
That's what it was.
I am still stunned. Like, you should look up one of Gould's drawings of Flat Top and then look at Flat Top in the movie. And the same thing with Prune Face. It is unbelievable how close they are.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's well worth revisiting. So I watched that. I had theories about how that impacted the Rocketeer's release, but then I watched 1994's The Shadow, which I've always loved. It is kind of funny. I always loved it, and then in rewatching it this time, it actually feels a little more ham-fisted than I recall. And I've seen it. This is probably the fourth time I watched it.
It's as ham-fisted as the first time I saw it in the theater in '94, from what I felt. I mean, I liked it, but it never felt like any less cheesy than when I first saw it.
Well, the thing I like about The Shadow, the movie, yes, I totally agree, Jeff, is that it is very truthful to the original pulp novels.
I'll give you that.
And I love that. And that's something that, because I saw it so late, I never saw it in the theater. I watched it after I had read like the first 5 or 6 pulp novels. And it's really truthful to it, which I love. I love that about it. Then I watched, and this I'd actually I worked at the comic store.
I know where we're going with this one. Go for it.
When this one came out, and I had never seen it all the way through. The Phantom, 1996.
I knew it.
It holds up. It is a fun adventure movie
because
it is really
it
fun.
Doesn't take itself. It's camp. It's a camp comic book movie, pulp movie that doesn't take itself too seriously.
Well, except here's the crazy thing about the Phantom that struck me that I never really noticed before. It is campy. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It is beautifully shot.
Yeah.
There is a scene with Billy Zane and I forget the love interest.
Christy Swanson.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they're in the back of a cab going somewhere, and it seems like such a weird minor thing, but it struck me that entire shot was actually shot. There's no green screen. There's no, the lighting is natural. It's amazing. Like, it is no right to look as good as it does. And the thing that I hate about it is, and that is a much better poster than what was actually released, because the poster is, as Dano did earlier, slam evil. Yeah. And that is such a stupid way to promote this movie. So stupid. But yeah, it's a solid movie. I was really impressed by it. So
I just remember Billy Zane was in it. That's all I remember. Billy Zane was in a movie, and he starred as the Phantom.
And then he went on to die in the Titanic.
He didn't die. He didn't die.
Spoilers, dude.
He lived.
There you go.
Slam so evil.
Bad. So bad.
And that costume was just that purple in the movie too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I love the look of the Phantom. It's such a cool design. Like I don't know.
I remember right after the Phantom came out, because I thought, well, if it does well, they'll do more. And they couldn't even do it in that time period. There was an adaptation of a animated, Phantom 2040, where it was the Phantom, but in the future.
Yeah.
And it was very cool and stylized. I'm trying to think of who the animation was.
It's okay. My first knowing of who the Phantom was I think it was 85 or 86, Defenders of the Earth.
Yeah, the series with Mandrake the Magician.
Yeah, Mandrake, Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
And do you guys know that Stan Lee's the one who wrote the theme song?
No, really?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it as good as the Spider-Man theme song you wrote?
Oh God.
What was I going to say? One of the factoids about the Phantom that I found interesting is that apparently Billy Zane, or two factoids, Billy Zane wanted to do it because on an earlier film, and I can't remember what film it was, one of his castmates introduced him to the Phantom comic strip, and he fell in love with it.
Interesting.
So he wanted to play this role. And in fact, when he showed up on set, the original costume had fake muscles like Batman's from '89, and he was ripped. And they're like, oh, you can't wear this. Like, we're just going to put you in spandex, which is why it feels like such an odd throwback, because it's all. But there's a scene with him after the first action scene where he gets like stabbed, and his assistant is kind of like healing him, and he has his shirt off, and the man is ripped. Like, I mean, but going back, sorry, there is a reason I wanted to bring all these up, and that is one of the fascinating things that these three films had to do that the Rocketeer didn't, but the Rocketeer does well that these three films do not, is because these are all based on much older properties, they all assume you know who these characters are. I think Dick Tracy is the worst at this because there is no introduction to who Dick Tracy is. The Phantom, I think, is the most interesting because the Shadow spends the first 30 minutes setting up the character. So it wants you to know who he is, and then it quite nicely ties that into the plot of the movie.
Yeah.
The Phantom, my favorite thing about it is if you're a young kid, you don't know who the Phantom is, and you just see a poster that says Slam Evil, and you're like, I want to go see some evil slamming.
Yeah.
There he is. The very first shot of that movie, it just pops up and says, for those who've arrived late.
Yeah.
And then it gives you this like scene potentially explaining what the Phantom is, but it is so obtuse that even when they explain it later, I was like, oh, that was his dad. Like, you keep thinking they're setting up Billy Zane, but they're setting up the prisoner as his dad.
I have to go rewatch this now.
It's very like it just assumes you know who the Phantom is.
Yeah.
And I think that is both a lovely sentiment and a massive failure of this movie.
I think one of the best things to view from this is seeing Batman '89 do well, and studios react by getting comic strips 50 years old as their properties to put out, because if that's not just the top of the studio going, oh yeah, I know comic strips, give me that Phantom property. Well, no one's done in. I think the Phantom only ran until the 50s.
Oh no, it still runs today.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's still going.
Yep. Max Allen Collins wrote it for a while.
Oh, he's awesome. Okay. All
Oh,
right.
he's good. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
very good. And that was, I think, in the 90s after Falk had died, he kind of stepped in as his replacement.
I forget it's a European comic, right? Isn't it a French comic?
No.
No, it's just, it is popular in France. It's popular in Spain. It's popular in Mexico, I believe, right?
Yes, Le Phantom.
Le Phantom,
Le
yes.
Phantom.
Le Phantom.
Look at this. Oh my god.
with
Miles O'Brien.
Oh my gosh.
With Bonini.
Yep. Okay, so I will segue us into the main topic by saying this.
Yes.
When The Rocketeer came out in 91, it did not do well. I have vivid memories. My dad and I went to the theater to go see it together, and the theater was not very full at all. And we both loved it. It became a huge touchstone film for me, and it came and went like that.
Yeah.
And here is what I think happened. I think in 89, Batman comes out, is an enormous success. Clearly, within a year, Disney's like, oh, we can do this, right? So they get Warren Beatty to make Dick Tracy. And again, like I said earlier, Dick Tracy was merchandised and promoted to the T. I mean, look up the Mickey Mouse Dick Tracy mashup logo.
Oh, Jesus.
You couldn't go to the Disney store at the time without tripping over Dick Tracy stuff. I mean, it was everywhere. And that movie bombed hard. And I think what happened was because Disney owned the rights. Disney originally was going to release The Rocketeer. And then they pawned it off. No, I'm sorry. They were going to release Dick Tracy. They pawned it off on Touchstone. I think it was such a mess that they just said, all right, we are not going to do this again with The Rocketeer. I have vivid memories. I'd never heard of The Rocketeer. I didn't know the character. I didn't know anything. We were at the mall, and I swear to God, it was around 89. I remember seeing that iconic movie poster in a poster shop. And I was like, what is that? I want to see it. And I could be wrong about this. Memory is faulty, but I think it was scheduled to come out the same year as Dick Tracy. And it took ages for that movie to come out. I think it was shelved. And then when I finally started seeing trailers for it, I'm like, oh, good, this is finally coming out, right? I think what happened was Disney got cold feet from Dick Tracy, and that ended up impacting The Rocketeer.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Just my theory, but when you look at the timeline of things, there was nothing for The Rocketeer. Nothing. It was crazy how little came out about it. And to me, it's one of the most important movies of the early 90s. So
Yeah, Disney pretty much, I'm trying to think of a property they put out they don't put a toy with. They don't put something with. And then they buy this Dave Stevens book that they have to kind of clean up because it's got a little risque stuff in it. It's got some Betty Page homage stuff in it. But I mean, it's a wholesome movie it's just such a throwback. I love everything about it to the old serials.
Yep.
I wish they had done action figures for that movie. Yeah, I would have been more interested, I think, from that too.
Here's what's crazy. They did do some stuff, but it's clear. I think at a certain point, Disney realized kids aren't going to dig this. And if you watch The Rocketeer, you see why. It's not. It's pretty slow paced. It has a lot of character development. It has a lot of stuff that I think they assumed kids would balk at. I mean, I was 16, 17 when the film, 16, I guess, when the film came out. I remember a couple years later, this was probably like 92, 93, being in a store in San Marcos where I would go to school eventually. And way in the back, they had like a toy section. And in their glass case, they had a Rocketeer figure.
Interesting.
And it was like $100. It was a collectible item. It was not a toy. And that was the only, I mean, between that and like a Neil Adams drawn audio comic. If you remember, there was like a comic book and then like a tape cassette that came with it for kids.
There was a Rocketeer version?
There was.
Oh wow, I
And
didn't know that.
those are the. I mean, I was on the lookout for merchandise for this movie because I was so infatuated with it, and there was very little, very very little. I mean, I don't even think they re-released the original comics at all. I mean, Disney had a comic imprint at that point.
Yeah.
Because they released a bunch of Dick Tracy comics. They were releasing new Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse comics, and they did not.
For their Disney Afternoon stuff too.
Yeah. And they did not re-release it.
Is this a situation where Dave Stevens sells an IP to Disney, but still owns the rights to Rocketeer as a comic? Because he may
have.
He did it on his own for a while, and I know that reading up on him, he had deals like with Playboy that he turned down just because he didn't like the vibe, like, even though it was like a huge paying gig, if he didn't like, the vibe, he was out. And I the thing that was cool is I remember going to conventions for years and seeing Dave Stevens open up his own little booth, put out his Rocketeer stuff. Say that's where I discovered Betty Page. And I was like, wow, this guy draws amazing stuff. It's beautiful. And then it's like, oh, it becomes a movie. That's how you do it. You just, if you draw pretty, it goes to the movies.
Yeah, that's true.
And I hope I want Daniel to come back because I want to see how much of Dave Stevens he discovered after watching The Rocketeer. Because he needs to dip into that comic book world because, man, his art is beautiful.
I do want to show real quick. Hang on. Let me do something. Window.
But did you want to talk about the screenwriters on this?
Well, in just a sec.
Okay.
Let's talk about the casting first, because I just want to point out. Can you see this page I'm showing you?
No.
There we go.
There it is. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Can we just talk about the amazing casting for this movie? This image down here of Cliff, I'm pretty sure that
Billy Campbell.
Makes that exact same face in the movie. I mean, it is pitch perfect casting. And credit to Joe Johnston for not going for big names, for going for the casting that best fit the look and feel. I think this is the first thing I ever saw Bill Campbell in, and he's brilliant in it. I mean, he exudes that sense of love of adventure, care and concern for Ginny. I mean, just all that stuff really comes through. Alan Arkin is Peavy. I mean, everyone is spot on in this. Yeah.
I had read that Billy Campbell went and got the haircut so that he would look just like him for the audition. And that really sold a lot of it, was because he just pulled off the look. And at the same time, they wanted Johnny Depp, who kind of had that haircut and everything. Can you imagine? I mean, he'd be good, but Johnny Depp at that time replacing Billy Campbell.
Mm-mm. You need that wholesomeness, and as we all know now, Johnny Depp doesn't have it. So
he's seen some shit, man.
I don't think I had ever seen Billy Campbell that I recognized him in anything.
Obviously, I think I saw him in Singles after this.
Yeah, I think
it's funny you should actually bring that up because a friend of mine finally let me the movie so I can watch it.
Oh, you've never seen it?
It's
it's my absolute favorite of his movies.
Oh my God, the soundtrack is fantastic.
Well, and this is what's going to decide because the last couple of times I've been at Josie Records, they actually have a single soundtrack on vinyl. So if I need to hear the movie, and if it sounds really good, I might have to pick up the soundtrack.
Oh no, just get the soundtrack. It's good.
Okay.
Trust me. You don't need to see the movie. But Billy Campbell has in a weird run in the early 90s. Lest we forget, he was in Dracula.
Yeah,
weird.
That's what I'm looking at.
Was he?
Yeah, he's one of the three suitors for.
Really?
He's the American. He's the cowboy.
Honestly, I was not the biggest fan of that film.
I revisited it. My wife and I rewatched it.
I just don't care. It's maybe I'm not the right market for it.
Having read the novel finally, it's a great adaptation of it.
Okay.
Way better than Brandau's Frankenstein, which is a giant piece of shit that I hate. Bram Stoker's Dracula is pretty good, but there was something else.
Now Keanu's But other than that,
But the thing you may never have seen Billy Campbell in that I highly recommend is the Tales from the City series. It is based on a series of novels by Armistead Maupin, and it premiered on PBS to
Interesting.
both huge acclaim and huge controversy because there is full frontal nudity in it on PBS, which I love.
Wow.
And then later it was picked up by, I think, Showtime. And he's in most of the series. I think he's in at least the first 3 adaptations.
Quick correction: Campbell Scott is in singles, not Billy Campbell.
Okay, I wondered. I was like,
oh, you're right. Okay.
I was like, I didn't think Billy Campbell was in singles, but
Yeah, very wrong. I just thought he was in that Gen X mindset, and I was like, oh, there's a Campbell in singles.
Yeah.
Billy Campbell Scott. It's a mashup.
as I was watching the movie, the credits. So I had never seen this movie for this. The credits came on, and I saw Alan Arkin. I was like, okay, that's great. I saw Jennifer Connelly. I was like, okay, cool, because who doesn't love Jennifer Connelly? Timothy Dalton, cool.
Yeah,
I did miss. I don't think he was on the main credits, but when they reveal Howard Hughes and it's Terry O'Quinn, and then I'm just like, it's Locke from Lost.
No, Billy Campbell apparently was in an early episode of season 1 of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
okay.
Yeah, it's called the Outrageous O'Connor, where basically he's a freighter captain who's basically trying to basically bring together. Again, it's 2 different warring families. The son loves the daughter, and he's the one trying to help go back and forth between. I remember this episode. And I'm like, holy shit, that was Billy Campbell. Oh,
Yeah, I think a lot of this cast had done Star Trek: The Next Generation during this time period because it had taken off after '89.
Was Johnston directing TNG? Is that the link, or is it just random?
Well, I don't think Connolly's ever done Star Trek.
Oh shit, I don't know.
I mean, she was.
I don't
like,
think. I don't think the villain. Oh god, I can't think of his name now. James Bond ever did Star Trek. either.
Timothy Dalton.
Yeah, I don't think
Dalton.
Dalton's ever done Star Trek either.
But
And you recognize Timothy Dalton from Doom Patrol, didn't you, Daniel?
Oh, I mean, from a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But I just figured that comic book, comic book tie.
He was in the. Actually, first thing I thought of when I saw him on screen, because it didn't come to me that he was the same guy from Doom Patrol, but they made a movie. The Nanny made a movie. Fran Drescher made a movie.
Yes. I love the
Oh yeah. Where he's
The
the
Bee,
king.
I think it's
Yeah.
Beautician and the Beast.
Yes.
Yes.
And I was
That's what you went to on your
well,
Timothy Dalton
because of the
knowledge?
mustache, because he was wearing the mustache. Because he has a mustache in the movie. And then I'm like, oh wait, that's Timothy Dalton. And then it clicked. At first I was just like, and then I realized Timothy Dalton was in that
Him playing
Fran
the
Drescher
villain
movie.
Him playing the villain shows just how well he can play a dick being in Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
totally. That's
so
a great
good.
comparison. Yeah, because he's great in this. I mean, he's
Oh yeah.
and the thing I really like about this movie, and I don't know if it's Johnston's direction, if it's the script. Again, big names on the script. It's
Yes.
Paul DeMeo and Danny Bison.
Yeah.
Bison, sorry.
They I think it was Bilson, because his daughter is
Bilson.
Rachel Bilson.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. And those two were the guys that brought the Flash to CBS in the 90s. So
Yep.
that they were on a streak, and I love it. I read about all their careers, and it was nice to see that they had still been writing and sold their last script in 2018, and it was The Five Bloods. They sold it to Spike Lee.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
their most recent credit is The Five Bloods, which was Chadwick Boseman's last movie.
Wow.
That's cool. As I was going through this movie, like I said, I think I recognized a lot of people, which was really cool. So I do have some notes. I made a note too, because there's a reveal at the towards maybe 2/3 into the movie. I don't want to keep saying Nazis on screen, so we'll just call them villains. But that's
No,
you guys will know that that's what we're referring to when we say villains.
No, there's one of my favorite lines. It's the guy, I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy,
Oh,
when-
I wrote it down.
I know exactly the line you're
Can I
going to
guess
say.
the line?
yeah, he comes down
Yep.
to give him the jetpack, And he goes, "What's this? What are you talking about?" It's like saying you're gonna get paid. It's like, look, I may be a villain, but I'm not a stinking Nazi lover.
I may not make an honest buck, but I'm 100% American.
American. I love that. I love that line.
I wrote that in my notes.
Oh my god! And then
because like I was like, yeah, fuck them. Everyone hates villains.
And then you go to the scene when the FBI shows up, and you got him there overhead. The FBI both shooting the Tommy guns, and they look down at each other like, "What the hell? Oh hell!" And they
exactly. That is Paul Sorvino, by the way.
Paul Sorvino's great.
That went from a kids movie to an adult movie real quick when they started mowing down all the villains. I was like, "Whoa, Disney!"
Well, but again, it is a touchstone picture.
That's true,
right? So, and they did the same thing with Dick Tracy because I think they saw what Beatty was putting together and the fact that Madonna wears a sheer nightgown in it, and was like, oh shit, we can't release this as a Disney film.
Think about this. I mean, for a while, all of Kevin Smith's films were still Disney based too because they owned Miramax at the time also.
Yeah.
So Touchstone and Miramax were the adult more level where you're going to put those films on. With the castle coming in. But
the thing I really like about this film, even with Dalton, is that there is no scenery chewing.
No.
Every actor plays it straight, plays it honest. It is just fantastic all around. There is not a bad, to my mind, there's not a bad component to this movie at all. Now, disagree with me, please.
No, I dig it when they brought Luther in. That's where I felt like a little bit of influence from Dick Tracy because the way his face looked and everything, how big he was, he felt like a Dick Tracy character. Like they just decided to throw something like that in.
Yeah, because of the prosthetics and stuff looks like the other guy too.
But even there, like remember what his very first appearance is. What he's sitting at home listening to opera, drinking like a little cup of tea, right? So it's like you're expecting this like. This a very cultured, and then he just shows up. He's just massive, monstrous guy. So,
oh god, now, when he goes to the hospital and he keeps folding people in half. Holy shit!
I know. And Johnson does such a good job. It's just a close up of a head with a foot next to it, and you're like, oh my god, what happened?
I love it. I love all those effects when he reaches for the doorknob, and you just see this massive hand when he's trying to get into Peavy's house. You just see this massive hand coming at the door.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good. I made another note. I made a bunch of notes as I was watching this. I love the setup for the airfield and all that. It's really cool. The flying effect I was like, okay, that's probably the thing that aged the least well. But, and it's funny because that's really the only scene where you see him flying out in the open in the middle of the day. Everything else either happens indoor, flying indoors, which is a lot more wire work, or it's flying at night.
Yeah,
where you wouldn't really notice that effect where they just kind of plaster them on that green screen or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. I also really enjoyed I just wrote down rocket truck when he tells Peavy to put it in neutral because the gangsters are after them. Even though they don't know they're gangsters yet. So I also love the time period that this took place in. The 30s is a really interesting, even though it was kind of like a zoomed in shot because we only see this little town and that the FBI it's very close to for some reason. Like they have offices all over the place, I guess.
And they just run into buildings and shoot. I love how the FBI works.
Well, they made a reference like I think it was Wooly. He's like, well, if Hoover doesn't agree, then whatever. I like something like that. I was like, oh, okay. Assuming that was J. Edgar Hoover they were talking about.
Yeah.
Now,
I
think Josh and I were talking a little bit before the show, and he mentioned Howard Hughes is not in the comic. He was an addition for the movie. I think perfect addition because I think it brings more of a like people know who Howard Hughes is, right? At this time, I assume. Like, I mean, with the Aviator
being the last movie about him, I would think that he would still be in the.
Well, and it would have had to have been a rights issue because, again, as I was saying in the comic, it's like they don't name him, but it's pretty clear it's Doc Savage is the creator of the Rocket Pack,
really?
and that. Yep,
forgot
and
that. Okay.
and that must have just been a nightmare of a rights thing because again, think about it. Street and Smith originally owned both The Shadow and Doc Savage, and I want to say by this point, Condé Nast had bought the rights to both of those, and if they were already in thinking about doing a Shadow movie, they were not going to give up Doc Savage. So
Yeah.
they had to find a way to tie it in that made sense, and it's a brilliant way to do it. Even down to my favorite little historical moment is when Cliff escapes and he jumps onto the model of the Spruce Goose.
Yeah.
And he's like,
That was
fly.
cool.
That was great. That was great.
It'll fly.
Yeah. So
I was going to ask if you guys noticed the lounge singer.
So I'm glad you brought that up, Clay, because I laughed out loud when that happened.
Yeah.
And I'll show you why.
wait, who?
Because of Threat Level Midnight, baby.
Yes.
I know. Wait, that was her.
Melora Hardin
Melora
is the lounge singer in the restaurant.
Wait,
I have never noticed that. That's amazing.
And she also did. This is the role from The Office from that Threat Level Midnight episode, and I thought it was the funniest thing ever. So
okay.
I'm glad we both saw
Wow.
that, Clay. I saw. So I think one of the coolest things going back and watching all these movies that from a while back is that I know a lot of these people and I've seen them and stuff. So it's just kind of cool to see like how they've been working forever or their careers maybe were at a different point. I think was this before or after what's the puppets movie? Dark Crystal.
Oh,
After.
This is
Yeah.
after, right? So
Yeah.
which Jennifer Connelly was in that? And
no. She was in
That was Labyrinth.
I mean,
okay, Labyrinth. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, but this-
Crystal.
this could have only been her third major film. She did Labyrinth. Before this, she did a movie with
Career Opportunities.
Career Opportunities. Thank you, with Big Brain
Kevin.
on Brad
Yes.
from Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
Where they get trapped in a Target overnight.
Yes.
Um,
And she rides the horse.
Yeah, she did a few things in between Labyrinth, but I don't know that they're big.
No,
movies.
okay. So 1984, Once Upon a Time in America, Pneumonia, 7 Minutes in Heaven, Labyrinth, Some Girls, Each Whale, The Hot Spot, Career Opportunities, and then The Rocketeer.
yeah,
Came
I
out
knew
next
Career
year.
Opportunities was just before this.
It's
so.
Phenomena, not Pneumonia.
Oh, I'm sorry. Phenomena.
I was like,
Do-do-do-do-do.
I was like Pneumonia. What the-
So what else stood out to you, Daniel, in seeing this with fresh eyes?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, that line I wrote that down because that was really good.
So good.
I like the humor that they do stuff like. There's a scene where they're in the what's it called, the big blimp.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
they're like,
uh-huh.
oh, we got the best pilot in the fleet, and then here comes in that dude, boom, knocks the pilot. I was like, oh shit, the pilot just fell and died.
I love that.
So that was cool. I like how much stuff takes place in the diner. Like this is how I can
love
kind
the
of tell
diner.
that they keep and then the owner of the diner, what's her name, Millie?
Yes, and
She's also
in-
some
she's
Margot
from The
Martindale.
Leftovers.
Yeah, I've seen her there. I think on
She was in The
Justified.
Riches. She's awesome.
I just want to point out, I will always love them for recreating this crazy ass diner that that he drew in the. I mean, this is page 1 of the original comic,
Nice.
and Johnson's like, "Yeah, we're just gonna make that cool bulldog diner. Let's do it." You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was cool. Let's see. I like the whole thing with the gum.
yeah,
was a
that
big-
was great.
Big
That's a
plot point. I just wrote them best piece of gum ever because it stayed on there forever.
Well, it just even like I love the reaction that they have when PV just shoves his finger in his mouth and pulls the gum
Yeah.
out. And Chloe's
Yeah.
like, "Oh God, what are you doing?"
What was gum made out of in the 30s? That's my question.
Good. Hey, everything was made better in the 30s. Like, let's
Yeah.
just agree on that.
I won't
The
disagree.
reference though to the gun package he gets though.
Yeah,
Is that specific to anything of that time period?
Is that
I
from the
believe
comics?
no, it's not from the comics. I think Hughes owned the company that made Blackjack gum.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong. It's good gum. I found it. If you like licorice, if you don't, never eat it. So
Yeah,
I was
I
looking
thought it
while I
was an
was.
interesting.
Oh,
I
go
was
ahead.
going to say it. I thought it was an interesting plan for the villains to infiltrate via Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's a long con. Like Neville Sinclair has to become a big movie star in Hollywood. Just like how far in advance did they start planning this out? Like, yeah, I don't know. That seems like, but I mean, it's Timothy Dalton, so he can. Even though he wasn't chewing up the stage, he was kind of destroying it when he was chasing Billy Campbell, Cliff, trying to get to him. So, yeah, it was cool. I didn't think. I feel like Jennifer Connelly got enough to do too,
Mhm.
for a '90s movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the norm or if this was just one of the movies that was maybe a little ahead of its time in that regard.
Yeah,
Um,
to
Well,
actually attack her captors.
Yeah, well, and she's critical to the plot, not as just a damsel in distress, but as someone
Right.
like she discovers, that he's a villain.
Yeah.
And again, I would say if you go back and watch all these other kind of pulp revival films from the early '90s, the female characters are not given that same breadth.
Yeah, there are very few and far between. I mean, you go from Sigourney Weaver as an action hero to who next? Who's the next big female action star?
yeah, I can't even tell you.
Yeah.
Well, I know. Technically, I guess Linda Hamilton.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Linda Hamilton. The next.
Well, you want to go martial arts? Cynthia Rothrock.
Yeah. But I would say I feel bad not calling her an A-lister because of her history, but I don't think her films are A-list movies.
No, they're not. Unfortunately, I mean, you might have been able to argue a little bit. Again, Labyrinth might have been one of those. What they were hoping it would be a bigger film, but other than that, what else was she in that did really knock her up there?
Yeah, I don't know. Y'all haven't even talked about the music yet.
Oh well, I have a note
music
for that
Oh,
too.
joking.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so good.
The score
Yes.
is beautiful. The
The
score is
score
beautiful.
is-
That
How-
opening scene, just an
Hold
opening
on,
scene
Josh.
when they bring the plane out and they're getting him ready, and he's
Yeah.
like, "I have flown a plane before," and just that soundtrack when they get him in there. And I'm gonna say this one, this is part of the music, but the little window they had to look out in the planes, I'm like, how are you piloting this thing with that small a freaking dome to look out of? It's like
That looked terrifying, and that was
Yeah.
based on a real plane.
claustrophobia, like,
Yeah, and
tenfold.
those planes, the GB,
Yeah.
they were notoriously hard to fly. Like they
Whoa.
easily crashed. But yeah, the music. Sorry, I raced back in here because the one piece of merchandising I bought multiple times after the film came out was the soundtrack. And I was a weird high schooler that I'm like, my favorite film composer is James
Horner.
James Horner, yeah. And he had a brilliant run in the 90s.
Oh,
Look him
yeah.
up in the 90s because
You want me to
every
name 'em?
yeah, do it.
Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan,
Damn.
Titanic, Avatar, Aliens,
Eh.
Field of Dreams, Krull.
You're still missing some big ones though. All right.
We forget.
He did
Okay.
he did Glory.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Totally different. He did Patriot Games, which
Wow.
has a very Irish sounding because
Yeah.
they're the bad guys in it.
Yeah.
He did The Rocketeer. Like these are all almost in sequence, like as he was doing them. It's a brilliant run. And yeah, and I still think The Rocketeer is his best score ever. It is absolutely perfect, both as music and for this movie. It is great. It is great. And like I pointed out, I think earlier this year, it got re-released on CD. Go get it. It's such a hard original CD to get. It is worth getting this reissued CD. It's fantastic.
I do have questions though, Josh, because I did read he had a lot of controversy around his music and saying that some of his stuff might have been lifted from classical pieces.
Oh wow!
Have you read any of this?
I have not, but
Okay, all right.
But I'm not a music historian. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, there's a lot of what I would describe probably inaccurately as Americana in the score for the Rocketeer, right? Like I'm just thinking of, after his first flight when he saves
Not Billy.
what's his face?
The clown. Let's go with the clown.
Yeah, the clown. After he saves him, he's just flying around there. It begins sounding a little bit like some like American composer, not Sousa, but someone I'm thinking of, and it's just not going to come to me. I don't know. That wouldn't surprise me. I think what surprises me more is after this show, go listen to the score for the anime movie Steam Boy.
Okay.
And what you will notice is, and this is because it's a great score, it is very clearly inspired by the Rocketeer soundtrack.
Oh, really?
Very clearly, yes. It's and not in a way where it's a direct lift, but like tonally, in terms of inspiration, pacing, the kind of the ups and the downs of it. Like just open the soundtrack to Steam Boy and play the last 2 tracks, and you will have visions of the Rocketeer. And of course, what is Steam Boy? It's a young Victorian boy in one scene slapping a steam pack on his back and flying up to a ship. It's like, it's really interesting.
That's cool.
Another really cool thing. I just love the design of the Rocketeer.
Yes.
Declan Shalvey tweeted this out yesterday. He did some commissions, and somebody I guess commissioned this shot of the Rocketeer. But it's like it feels like it belongs in the time that it was made, but also like it's kind of timeless. Like this design, like it looks super cool all the time. And when you first see the helmet that PV makes out of that radiator thing or whatever that was.
How do I look? Like
wasn't it an old? Okay.
Yeah.
Was it in an old radio on the sides?
Might have been.
That makes sense.
Oh,
that makes sense. Yeah.
I thought it might be something stronger, and that's the only reason I said. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That was funny though with the scene with the statue, which we were talking on the Discord yesterday. When they first test it, and the statue just flies up. And they're like, "Oh, we should get a helmet."
Yeah, I love that. Well. Crap.
Well, John finds it.
I just had a thought and it's gone.
I got some fun trivia from the IMDb stuff.
Well, I was going to bring up the fact that Rick Baker did the makeup in this movie, and this is, I believe, post American Werewolf in London.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, because that would have been 86, and this is 91. So
Well, Daniel, I'll do some images into the Discord if you want to go real quick. I'm just saying, because we're talking about how the Rocketeer is very much a 91 or not too far off that same time, but that's when it was created. But it was. I remember walking to Suncoast Video back in the day and seeing the old 1950s and 40s serials. And this is definitely has to be influenced by the old Rocketman serials.
I think Steven said he was inspired by those serials, which are fun. I've watched.
Well, I'm not knocking, but I always originally thought the Rocketeer had been a property from the 1950s.
I got you.
And that's why I didn't realize it was just that Rocketman was something totally different.
Yeah.
Commando Cody, the Rocketman.
So I remembered what I was going to say, and I wish I could find my old sketchbooks, but I was so influenced by this that I remember even in college when I would just be kind of bored and sketching. If I'd gone into comics and animation, one of the things I would have loved to propose was a Bruce Timm Batman animated series style cartoon of the Rocketeer.
I could do that.
Yeah.
It would work so perfectly. It would, that whole kind of Art Deco style of that show mixed with the Rocketeer. And I had tons of designs of drawing the Rocketeer to look like that, which is hard to do because of the joppers. He's shaped kind of like this, right? Yeah. And all Bruce Timms are shaped like an upside down pyramid, So anyway,
like I said, I have some facts. So what are they called? The GB plane of the racers were nicknamed Widowmaker and Flying Coffin because of the difficulty to, like you guys mentioned, of those planes. There's a deleted scene where Neville St. Clair is sending a message to Berlin, that was actually coded with an Enigma machine that they found.
Oh wow.
But the scene was cut for time. And then the last thing I found here that was I thought pretty interesting. There's a scene where at the end where Cliff tells them, you know, you don't do your own. Oh, where's your stuntman now? And then Neville responds, "I do my own stunts." That was a callback to Timothy Dalton's time as James Bond.
Okay.
Because he would do
His
he
own
would do
stunts.
a lot of his stunts. Also, Vincent D'Onofrio was almost in this movie. I think
He turned down the role, is
yeah,
what I
he
heard,
turned down
of,
the role.
What role?
of the Rocketeer.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
actually
and-
glad he did. I'm actually glad he did.
Yeah, because then he went and made Men in Black. I mean, that was what just a year or two after this, right? Like 95.
95. I want to say yeah. Or actually,
Yeah.
no, was it?
And-
Hold on. Was it 97? Maybe.
And Joe
Well-
Pesci turned down the role of Eddie Valentine.
That's a shame. That would have been
97 for Men in Black.
97. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
I
here's
want to see Joe Pesci busting villain's knees.
here's
on
a
on the movie.
yeah, I know, right? Here's a crazy factoid. Because again, I was obsessed and I bought every piece of merchandising I could do. And bear in mind at this time, this was the tail end of the period where when films finally came out on VHS, they were still like $100.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the only way I could re-experience this after it left theaters was to read the novelization, which was by Max Allan Collins, I'm pretty sure. And it includes some scenes from the script that were not in the film, or I think even shot for the film. One that I loved that I wish was in it is when Cliff goes to see Ginny on the set. As he's leaving, because he causes all that havoc, he bumps into Clark Gable and another famous actor from the time. And I think the intent in the script was to hire lookalikes, right? Or maybe get
W.C.
actors.
Fields.
And maybe W.C. Fields, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, because he appears. He's in the club.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's Clark Gable. It's like two actors that are also kind of like action-y actors from that time, which would be sort of like Sinclair. I can't remember who the other one was, but it was just a great little callback because that's the one thing the film kind of misses is it's set in Hollywood in the 40s, and except for W.C. Fields and
30s.
Hollywoodland, 30s. I'm sorry,
yeah.
30s, yeah. And except for Hollywoodland, they don't really play up much of that as the setting, you know.
Well,
So-
and that was a funny thing at the end too when Neville was like, "I'll miss you, Hollywood,"
Yeah.
and then he explodes and falls onto the
sign.
takes up the
Hollywoodland,
sign.
which
So-
originally it was Hollywoodland.
yeah.
So-
What do you guys know why they took off land from the sign?
It was a development property that was called Hollywoodland, and the sign became so big they were like, well, what if they wanted to take the land off because it was associated with the property that was being built
Okay.
to just call Hollywood.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that was interesting. All right, is there any final thoughts on the Rocketeer? From anyone?
On Dave Stevens.
Yeah.
I think he was just a crazy talent. I mean, if anything, I hope people go and discover his art and look through all the cool stuff he did. But even at that, if you watch Super Friends, he worked on Super Friends.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
He worked for Hanna-Barbera. He did work for them, and the Godzilla Power Hour, 70s Saturday morning cartoon.
Oh my god!
Nice.
I know that's what all the great comic artists were doing. Were Saturday morning cartoons. In
Yeah,
the 70s.
that's true. They paid the bucks. I mean, you have to think they weren't getting it from DC and Marvel at the time. So
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I revisited this. I know we have a few other movies that we may do in the future. Like what do you call it? What was it? Oh, Howard the Duck. Since today is the 35th anniversary of Howard the Duck, and I've also never watched that movie.
All I'm gonna say is, oh my god, why am I blanking her name? Fuck.
Leah
Leah
Thompson.
Leah Thompson.
Panties.
Oh man, I had such a massive crush on her from specifically that movie. Not Back to the Future. It was Howard
was
the
it from
Duck.
Caroline in the City?
Well, that too.
Well, she was
That
also
too.
in Space Camp.
Yeah.
Oh,
was
God, she
living
is in
space
Space Camp. I forgot about that.
And don't forget
All right.
Jaws 3.
Jaws 3.
Never
Jaws-
seen that.
Jaws 3 is her first
Jaws 3D.
film off.
You can
film
only
appearance.
watch it in 3D.
I've seen
Oh.
Jaws 3 in 3D in the theater.
Wow,
Nice.
that's impressive.
Nice.
Old.
No,
No,
all
the
right.
Alamo shows it every now and again, so it's worth going to see.
Nice.
So I just thought of a question of the week because I didn't think of one, and I just put it on the thing. But it'll be
Uh-oh.
related to what we've been talking about. If you guys wanted to see a reboot of one of the movies Josh talked about earlier, one of those pulp heroes that we talked about from the 90s, or any other one that we didn't mention, which one would it be? And I'm gonna start with saying, why is it not the Phantom? Because I think the Phantom would he could get a really cool update leading up to, even if they start to connect the like the animated show we were talking about earlier, like they do a Mandrake movie and stuff like that, and then they kind of connect everything. So do you guys have one that you'd like to see come back?
Yeah, I want to see Doc Savage because I've never seen a good Doc Savage ever. So
Yeah, it's supposedly in the works.
but it always has been. I mean, they had one in the
true.
70s, and it's been a property that's always out there, but I mean, no one makes it work. I think the last time I saw it work was in Planetary.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So Doc Savage is one of those characters in there.
I was going to say Doc Savage, but since Clay said that, I would love to have a revitalized Shadow series. And I think it'd be really super, like, I think the audience is ready for another Shadow today.
But still, Alec Baldwin.
hey, I would do that. I would definitely do that. So.
If they rebooted the Phantom and don't bring Billy Zane back, I'd be disappointed.
Yeah.
Can I just say one of my all-time favorite Billy Zane bits ever is when he appears in the last season of Community, and there's he's in the bar that what's her face works at, and he's trying to give her a job, and then I forget who comes in, but they start talking, and he's like, "Well, what happened to that guy?" And then Billy Zane's just like hiding behind this table. This is so great. It's so not Billy Zane. I love it.
All right, Kyle, did you have one?
Yeah, this is not so much like an older, but it's a pulp hero. But I'd rather see a reboot and done right of the Spirit.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. What Kyle said.
I changed my vote. I changed.
I changed mine too. Yeah.
I remember watching
another
that
one.
Spirit movie from a few years
Oh my God! Give me a good a Spirit movie done in the same Art Deco style you're talking about, the Rocketeer or Batman. Like I want it that style, but him actually being just a guy who's they think he's dead and he's wearing a mask. He's not super.
Yeah.
There's no supernatural bullshit.
A great story, but very stylized.
Yes.
One of my biggest disappointments, and you guys know I was hyped about it, was speaking of the Rocketeer. You know, they've been putting out a bunch of new stories over the past 10 years. They did a Rocketeer Spirit
Yes, I read it.
story. It was awful. I hated it. And I loved both those characters so much.
Okay, I'm not going to defend it. I'm just going to say, but that's the Spirit that I want. Like not the story of the Spirit, but that's the kind of the character. Like he's just a man. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
That's why, again, I will go to bat for the very weird 1980s made-for-TV movie. It has that.
Wait, what?
There's a starring Flash Gordon. Not that one. That one sucks.
It also has the weirdest hot tub scene.
There was a 1980s Spirit movie.
Yeah,
I
it was
will
on
send
TV.
it to you.
It was on TV. It started.
I've got it in my Plex. I'm pretty sure.
Sam
Jones.
And the
what's
girl
her face from Star Trek?
Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Yep.
Wait, who? Akira or
no, that had the nose thing.
Dax. Okay.
Dax. No, not Dax. The security chick. Not a visitor.
When I Google
that's Akira. Major Akira.
Okay.
When I Google 1980s The Spirit, a car comes up.
I mean,
it is a rough version of the Spirit, but it is very 80s. And I swear, if you Google the Spirit hot tub scene, because this is for TV, so it's very safe. It is very uncomfortable. And
you know what's really this is putting it right when we go right back to the fact that Roger Corman's Fantastic Four is still the best FF film we've gotten out of everything else.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a great point. Like I would rather watch this Spirit with Sam Jones than that abomination, that Frank Miller did.
Oh,
I don't know
God,
who
it's so
wrote this,
bad.
but
I
don't
did.
know.
Wes Anderson's The Spirit.
I did. I'd love to see that.
Ah.
Oh, that's
okay,
funny.
cool.
But I
You
changed
guys-
mine to Green Hornet. I really
You guys
would-
realize it was a Doc Savage film
Oh.
in '75, don't you?
yeah. And it's,
Yeah, I just watched it like a month or two ago.
Yeah, Courageous One's a good one.
yeah.
He doesn't.
I think that one was a made for TV
Yeah.
version.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. It's a George Powell joint.
Ooh.
It's I think the last thing George Powell did.
Now, you want to talk about
Yeah.
TV films? The old 1970s TV made for film Doctor Strange.
Yes, with the mom from Arrested Development. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God.
Rest in peace,
Lucille Bluth.
Lucille Bluth. She is hot
R.I.P.
in that movie. I'm just
Go-
saying.
Jessica
Go watch a
Walters.
Star Wars.
Go watch a Star Wars.
Oh, Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Ah. All right.
Oh.
We're having
move on
Lindsay
to-
chops for dinner.
Oh God.
She's so fucking
Savage.
mean.
Savage. Well, with that, let's go to recommendations. Also, Doc Savage over. All right, Josh, you want to kick us off here at the top of the list?
Yeah, sure. I've got two partly because I brought back the one from last week, but it fits in. My first is this website I just totally stumbled upon called Comics Kingdom, and what's cool about it is that
Oh, the Phantom was there.
yeah, no, it's so like they have the Phantom, they have Mandrake, they have Flash Gordon. There's actually a really cool Flash Gordon thing they're doing, which I'll explain in a minute. But I grew up. I'm probably the last generation that grew up reading and loving newspaper strips. It's always been my very first comic love. I love comic strips more than comic books. I'll just be frank. I always have. When I wanted to be a cartoonist, I wanted to be a newspaper strip cartoonist.
Okay.
And the thing that I missed the most was every day opening up the newspaper and reading the strips at breakfast, right? You can still do it, but it's sort of hard to do. This site does that for you. So it's free, but for $20 a year annually, you can subscribe and basically put together, these are the strips I want to read each day, and they just email them to you. So
cool.
every morning in my inbox, I just open it and I'm reading The Phantom, I'm reading Amazing Spider-Man, I'm reading Bizarro, I'm reading like just strips that I like to read. It's totally worth it, I think. Oh, like original Crazy Cat strips are in my inbox every day. I love it, right?
For $20, that's awesome.
For $20 a year, yeah. I think it's completely worth it. Having said that, what I just stumbled upon on the site, because it's a little overwhelming at first. They have a strip called Flash Forward. That's pretty cool. It is the Flash Gordon strip, but every day's entry is by a different cartoonist. And I went back a few days and there's one by Box Brown. And it's great. I'm just like, holy crap, this is amazing. So now I'm going to read this every day, right? It's wonderful. It's really good. So that's my first rec. The other one is a Humble Bundle that dropped this week. And it's very similar to one that I'd already bought like a year or two ago. But it's a 2000 AD Humble Bundle. And man, if you pay for the full amount, you get all of Halo Jones, you get all of Zenith, which a very early Grant Morrison book. Brass Sun is really good. I mean, there are tons of stuff in here. So if you've never read any of the 2080 properties, this is a perfect way to get into it.
Ooh, Al Ewing.
Look at that Judge
Zumbo.
Dredd. That's some bowling art.
Yeah. That's the Carlos Esquerra.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
thank you for saying it properly.
Judge Death, Young Death.
And
I like
they have
Judge Death.
Yeah, and they have some of the original Judge Dredd volumes in there too. If you keep scrolling down, that's all the newer stuff. But like,
yeah, they have the complete files here.
yeah, there's the
somewhere.
Judge Anderson. I know I saw a Judge Dredd one.
I think it's at the
maybe
top.
It
not.
was at the top. It was at the top.
It was
They had
at
the
the
first
top. Oh, was it?
five.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, there it is.
The
Yeah.
complete case files 1 through 5.
I mean, 1 through 5. Each one of those is like 200
500
pages.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, they're enormous. So you're getting like thousands of pages of comics from this Humble Bundle.
I might
So
buy this.
You should get it. It's good. It's really good.
They need to give us an affiliate link.
Yeah, I know. That'd be nice. I would dig that.
Cool.
Because it's my go-to, and I don't have a rack. So,
All right, Kyle, you're next on the list.
Yeah, I threw a link in there. Basically, found out today that there is, and apparently it's at Target right now, but they've released a Disney's Gargoyles board game.
Oh, hold on, you threw a link where?
In the notes.
I see it.
Yeah.
Board game.
But it comes with pewter figures for 5 of the 6 gargoyles, along with Elisa, and basically just in a huge city board of New York. And I'm like, okay,
Cool.
this might be worth.
that's cool. That's really
How much?
cool.
I think like 30. I think maybe.
Oh, that's not bad. Whoa, that looks amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, click
Wow.
The next image will have the link to the figures.
Those are nice.
Yeah.
Damn,
So I'm like,
that's awesome.
This I may have to pick up.
Oh yeah, this looks good.
I mean, it's the best animated series they've released. So I mean,
I own it. I
That
still
was
need to
a
watch
show.
it.
I mean,
So.
about gargoyles, I guess so. Cool.
no, but yeah.
All right, Clay's got a fun one.
Yeah, I just have Dave Stevens because I just
Oh,
enjoyed
good.
doing
Nice.
this whole segment and just looking up and researching and going through his old art and
Yeah.
reading cool stories about him.
Yeah.
On one hand, it was weird because like I saw him at cons all the time, so it was you just you go to cons and you see the normal tables. That was a regular. He was a regular at the Dallas
Yeah.
Fantasy Festival, Dallas Fantasy Fair back in the '80s before this blew up.
I'm
And so it was
so
always
bummed. I would have loved to have met him.
Yeah, I mean, it was just cool because it was just he was a regular, and then seeing all this art, and then I even discover he helped do storyboards for Raiders of the Lost Ark
Wow.
and Thriller, like just
the
random
video?
cool shit.
the
Yeah,
Michael
that's
Jackson
the Michael
really-
Jackson video.
I really want Dave Stevens' Thriller storyboards collected right now.
I
That'd
mean,
be
that would
amazing.
be amazing. Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
he draw? Did he draw one going like this, and then one with the hand? Same thing? You guys know how the Thriller dance goes.
I
Cool.
mean, yeah, that's been the funnest part for me is just going through this. So look up some Dave Stevens art.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons I like doing shows like this is because we're looking into something we hadn't even maybe thought about in a while.
Yeah.
And it's something that I mean, some of us experience it for the first time. You guys go back and revisit some stuff. So
You revisited the Pelican Brief.
that's right. No, I had never
did.
seen it. I had never seen it.
No.
I've never
Oh,
seen
that's
it.
it.
I didn't even know why it was called the Pelican Brief until I watched the movie, and then they very thoroughly explain it multiple times.
Right. It's set in a beach town, and the Pelicans are the bad guys.
That's right.
I've never seen it.
It's about the basketball team. It's about the Pelicans basketball team.
That did not exist in '93.
yeah. That was a whole conspiracy. Julia Roberts figured it out.
Oh my god.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna recommend normally I would say a comic that I haven't read, but I got an advance for Scotty Young's new
Ooh.
comic, The Me You Love in the Dark. This is the same team from Middle West, the Eisner nominated Middle West. So Scotty Young, Jorge Corona, Jean-Francois Villebreau. I don't know if that's it. Sorry, but that last. My French is not so good. And Nate Pecos on letters. Yeah, it's a cool kind of gothic story. Scotty Young's stories are actually pretty interesting. So it is not drawn by Scotty Young. I think he does have a cover
I'm
at
sure
some
he
point.
does. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have a review for this. Actually, it's already loaded up in the channel. I just can't make it public yet. So stay tuned. Hit subscribe if you haven't for that, and we'll have more reviews for comics and stuff. in the
You know
channel.
you've made it when you've got NDAs. So
Well, yeah, I guess I don't really know what happened. Oh, I did find this Scotty on cover. Let me show you guys. Oh, it's so cool. Damn it. Now I'm going to have to buy this one.
Oh,
Nice.
that's nice. Yeah,
Nice.
that's
Cool.
good.
So cool. Yeah, so go check go check this out. Go like the video so I can tell the comic publishers like, look how many views we're getting on our stuff. Give me more advanced copies of stuff.
That's awesome.
So yeah, but that's about it. Any closing thoughts before we get Sam Jackson out here to get us out of here?
I did have one memory I forgot to mention earlier when I was talking about the Phantom. Like I said, I was working at a comic store when that came out, and I wish I still had this. They, as a promotional item, they sent us a box of cast metal Phantom rings to give away.
Oh god, that sounds
We were all impressed. We're like, these are not cheap. These are nicely made cast metal rings, and we all took one, and I have no idea where mine ended up. I would love to still have that. So yeah, boom!
I love it.
Can't slam evil without it.
Right. No, you can't. You can't leave that little mark on the guy's face like he has. So
cool. All right. Well,
really, I never. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
I love that stupid clip. All right. Well, anything else, guys, before we get at? Oh, you know what? We'll probably do Suicide Squad next week since it's coming out on HBO Max
Thursday.
So stay tuned for that.
Is it? Do you have to pay extra for it?
Yeah,
on HBO Max.
Not HBO Max. Not HBO.
Oh, good. Okay, all right,
good. Because if you are, then I will be watching it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So we'll probably do. Very likely that our show next will be about the Suicide Squad. Maybe we'll do a look versus Suicide Squad because we're getting news on that front. David Ayer sent a big letter this week to
I saw that
to someone.
Do I have to go watch the original Suicide
You never
Squad?
seen it?
No.
I think it'd be
You're not
worth
missing
watching.
anything.
I think it'd be worth watching just because you can see how different the movies are going to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though they
All right.
have some of the same characters.
Good film compared to bad film.
Yeah. it is a film of poor choices that you can go, oh, why would you do that?
But-
Why would you add this? Why
Yeah.
would you tell us this a third time?
David Ayer released a big statement. I think this is the last thing it feels like this is the last thing he wants to say on that. He just said, look, the cut of the movie that Warner Bros. Released.
Oh, that's right.
That's not what I intended for the movie to be at all. I don't know that
Interesting.
there's a better version of the movie out there. And we may never find out. But he was just, I guess because of,
He's getting comparisons.
He's getting a lot of, people are bringing it back up again because we're getting this sequel.
Well, and the Snyder cut, right? Like, didn't
Exactly.
almost immediately they're like release the Ayer cut. So.
Right. Which I mean, if you give me another cut of that movie, I'll watch it. What?
I'd rather wait and watch that cut if I could. So
yeah. So I don't know. I'll probably rewatch the other one. I'm gonna rewatch that and then maybe Birds of Prey just to get a full feel on how Harley's portrayed in all three movies.
Okay, I'll give you Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think I actually need to have watched either of those movies to go to
No.
this new Suicide Squad?
No.
But I will
good.
say it is my favorite Jack Courtney movie. It's my favorite role he's ever played in anything ever.
You've never
So-
seen Live Free or Die Hard, then?
Oh God, why?
No, you mean you mean the next one, the last one.
What was
Live Free or Die Hard is 4.
Oh, that's
right?
okay. Yeah, that's the Kevin Smith one.
Yeah. Nobody
Yeah.
even.
There's
nobody
no
even
good
knows
Die
what
Hard
it
after
is.
2.
I like 3.
3
You give
is
me-
great.
You give me Sam Jackson and
Wasn't a
Bruce Willis
fan.
together.
Wasn't a fan.
I'm there.
Took away from the feel with the Die Hard films I liked were.
People on TikTok they found that scene of John McClane walking with that sign,
Yeah, that's right.
and they're resharing it like the whole scene. Yeah,
No.
very very out of context too. So,
Yeah, very.
but they share the whole scene because it's a very tense scene. But yeah,
Mhm.
Okay, well, cool. Yeah, I'm sure we'll do a Die Hard episode at some point too. But yeah, let us know down in the comments.
Oh, look at
I'm all
look
in.
at Clay. Look at Clay.
as long as it doesn't mean I have to watch the 5th one.
You have to watch them all. I want an essay on it, please. What is
Because
your
we'll also have-
worst?
well,
What is the worst Die Hard, and why are you wrong?
If
We'll
we're
have
gonna
to-
do Die Hard, we got to do Lethal Weapon.
yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
I don't know. I have a won't watch anything with Mel Gibson in it
Same.
rule now.
I mean, I give an exception for Mad Max, but Lethal Weapon.
Again, that was before he became the nutbag that he is. So it's,
I don't care. I don't want any residuals going to that man ever again.
Yeah, we'll
Okay,
figure
so
it
we'll
out.
BitTorrent the movie.
Yeah, there you go. All
There you
right,
go.
that works.
If you own it, you're not giving any residuals.
That's true.
True. That's true. I don't think I do though.
Kyle would just let us borrow his DVDs.
All
right.
Nice.
Well, thanks everyone for watching. Let us know down in the comments what other movies or properties you like us to make me revisit. Even if it's the Bad Spirit movie.
That movie sucks hard too.
I have tried 4 times to watch it, and I just cannot get through it. It is so bad.
I haven't made it a half hour into it. I think the most I've made it 15 minutes. I turn it off.
It's not very good. I watched that movie, but I couldn't leave because I didn't go by myself, and the person I went with didn't want to leave, so I had to sit through it. And then after we got out of the movie, we were going with some friends that wanted to watch a different movie, and so we had to sit through the rest of their film, and that movie was The Love Guru.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, that is awful.
Double feature shit.
Yeah.
Did y'all just compare how bad the movie was? Which movies y'all saw?
The Spirit didn't feel as bad once I was watching The Love Guru.
I was gonna wonder, which one was the lesser of two evils?
At least it looked cool. At least The Spirit looked cool. But yeah, that was a.
Oh my god! Yeah, exactly. Wow.
All right. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Like, subscribe, and that stuff.
Well, the other thing too.
The
outro. Oh, we have an outro. Hold on.
We have an outro.
All right. And let's get out of
Let's
here.
ride.
Thanks everyone for watching.
I love you.
Oh yeah. Clay.
Hell, Bebo.
Josh.
My vagina is haunted.
All right. Bye.
Right.
Yeah.
I like my read on that one. That's good.
We're gonna need a clean take later. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Sorry.